here to bring the community together and rally around projects that are filming in San Antonio. Some other resources that we have a locations gallery. If you happen to own or manage a property in the San Antonio area you'd like to submit as a filming location, you're always welcome to do so. But this is a locations gallery that we help to provide access to filmmakers who are just looking for a little visual inspiration about different kind of film-friendly locations, city properties, and other types of locations that might be good for projects to access as filming locations. So you can check that out on our website at any time, and you can also reach out to us at the San Antonio Film Commission because our team does the permitting for more than 250 city-owned properties in the city of San Antonio, and it really includes some iconic locations like the Riverwalk and La Villita and Market Square. So if you have questions about film permitting, we're here as a resource. We're here to help connect you to other permitting contacts and government agencies, and just try to help you get your project, from idea to on the big screen. And so think of us when you think of your filmmaking needs. And then also just an exciting thing to share on behalf of our community is that in September, we recently were able to reinstate a local film incentive for projects filming in San Antonio that offers 7.5% back. And that is the most competitive local film incentive in the state of Texas. It can be paired with the state's incentive, and it can also be accessed as a standalone incentive for any project that's spending more than $100,000 in the San Antonio area. And so if you have questions about that or any of the resources that I mentioned, feel free to see me after class. We'll be here. But you can also always reach out to our office. We're really here to just help again, and we're friends, not foe. So I will leave it at that for now, but I believe our panelists are going to be joining us soon, and there's some videos that are going to play. But thank you again all for coming out tonight.
Mr. Martinez, I finally get to meet you face to face. Heard a lot about you, especially the parties that you host at this university. Congratulations, young man.
Wow, I don't know what to say. Thank you.
Well, there's a $15,000 fee for the hole in the walls.
What's wrong with you?
$15,000?
That's it. I'm not paying for school anymore.
What?
I suggest you start packing.
So what are we gonna do now?
Still need to figure out how to pay $15,000.
I have an idea.
Oh my God, this is the best margarita I've ever had. What's your secret?
The latest sensation, Martinez, is making waves.
Oh my gosh, this is gone viral. You know what that makes you? The Margarita Man.
Chico llamado Margarita Man.
The Margarita Man? I want to have an end-of-the-year party.
And you're the guy who throws all the parties. I present to you the Margarita Man.
I've always loved watching people have a good time.
All right, who's ready for another shot?
You're something else.
He's a little different.
Well, I don't know too much about biology, but I think you guys have pretty good chemistry.
Listen, Pancho, you stay away from Michael. What are we going to do about it?
We need to run him out of business.
Miguel, we have a problem.
Margarita Miguel is history.
When times got rough, you kept your head up high because you're not a quitter.
College isn't for everyone, son.
I never realized just how good I had it. I just want to say that I'm sorry.
Never meant for you to think that I wasn't proud of you.
This is a man who needs no introduction.
Don't mess with the bull, or you'll get the horns.
You need to tell Valerie the truth. It's Valerie. With her, I literally can't think straight.
I've been thinking about you.
Sup, bitches?
I'm not gonna be that girl who always dates guys right before they come out of the closet. I'm a fruit fly.
Are you wearing Axe body spray?
Yeah?
You're so pathetic. A mosquito wouldn't even suck you.
Yo, say!
You move your hand onto his junk and say, now that's
a stimulus package.
He betrayed me.
Betrayed?
No!
That's it! Traitor.
You are not a fruit fly.
Here he is.
I struggled a lot with, what I wanted to identify as, what I was going to put down like on an application or maybe the census. But I think right now and for the past few years, I've been using like Chicana. But I know like the term Hispanic is something that I don't like because that is, a government coined term, made to like group people together, almost like erase our identities and our culture. I see myself identifying with, Chicanismo and the culture of Chicanos because it's very Texan and as well as making sure not to forget your roots.
I'm going to tell you, this is for La Raza, yes to us, and to the world to see. Because today is a day of history for all of La Raza, wherever they are, throughout Latin America.
It wasn't until recently that I felt like the thing that represented me the most was identifying as a Tejana. That's more immediate to me. In the literature, there's this word, it's called Nepantla, and it's a Nahuatl word that means the in-betweenness of your identity as a Mexican American, right? Feeling both Mexican and American, which I think I have resonated with for a while, this teetering act that I play. I don't feel that way as a Tejana. My community is Texas-based. I am Tex-Mex. Like, this is the lens that I see my world in.
Okay, I don't think there are any other videos that are going to play. Paul and I don't have videos, so we'll just talk instead. So everybody, please just give one more round of applause to our incredible panelists here. I don't want to read everyone's bio because I think that these have been pretty widely passed around at this point and they're projected out on the big screen and you've just seen a sample of everyone's work. But we have Daniel Ramos, Vanessa Lerma, Guillermina Zabala, and Paul Ardoin. I want to start off with a really important question. The film industry is unique and that everyone finds their own path. And no two paths are exactly alike. And there's no precise formula for breaking in. And I understand that to a lot of people, probably in this audience especially, if you're young and you're just kind of starting your journey in exploring the idea of being a filmmaker, that can feel really overwhelming. But the flip side is it can be liberating to know that there's not just one way to break in. And so I think it always helps to learn how other people got started in the industry. And I think that's the perfect place to start this conversation. So I would love to just hear how everyone got started. And when I say in the industry, I mean on the path that you're on and as it relates to the industry, because we do have some diversity and panelist experience here. Danny, would you like to start?
Sure. It's kind of like what you guys are doing. If anyone's breaking into the industry, you guys go to school, study, take drama, go to RTF programs or any film school. But now doing what I'm doing, before I got into it, was interning. And I say that in quotations. Interning is the best way to go about understanding the craft that you're gonna get into. So I really recommend doing some sort of intern program, if it's television stations or if it's a commercial or whatever it is. And that gives you a wider understanding of what you're really going to get into. So there is no money, so be ready. We're starving artists, but the money does roll in when you really, really study your craft, sharpen it up, and build it, and the money will come. But it's not about the money. It's about what you do and what you want to tell your story. So that's how.
That's great, Danny. And I think it's important to kind of just even start with that, talking about like the finances of it. So, my dad was an accountant, and we didn't know artists or filmmakers or anything. Kind of growing up, I had no point of reference, and you wonder, how do you get started on this? And then knowing that you've got to kind of take an unpaid internship, or that you've got to work for free in order to kind of get the wheels turning on establishing yourself, I think can be, daunting to people. And there are some paid internships out there for people who are, wanting to know more about those opportunities. But I'll just say, like in my own case, I ended up finding a job on Craigslist that let me work creative hours as a clerk for an attorney's firm, and that allowed me to do an unpaid internship while that led to like the next opportunity and the next opportunity. And before you know it, you've got a couple of opportunities under your belt, and then you are starting to get paid and you are starting to learn more. So Vanessa, I don't know if you want to chime in.
Very, very similar to what you just said. I have a background as a theater educator, so I kind of was used to doing the producing, the directing, all of those things. And so I started volunteering with different filmmakers, for free, interning, doing wardrobe, whatever it is that I could, did a feature, did some shorts, and realized that I was really great at producing. And so helped produce a couple of shorts as well. But a lot of times you have to kind of create opportunities for yourself. And so my husband and I started a production company, and so we've been able to keep having these opportunities because that was the path that we decided we would do together.
Okay, I guess I go next. So I think similar. Definitely internships. That was something that I did. I actually sort of started with film school first. I'm originally from Argentina, and I moved actually to Los Angeles to study film. So I think having that space, it was like a community college where you have other students who have similar interests. That definitely helped. But then also, I think one of the things that really helped me get more involved in production companies and films was an opportunity that Independent Feature Project West, which is a great organization that helps independent filmmakers. They put out this project for women. So I applied for it for young filmmakers. I was in college and got selected. They only have 20 young filmmakers. And that was great because what they did is they mentor us, and they put it together with other, established filmmakers, and then allowed me to do not just internships, but actually go to different places. And from there, pretty much, started getting connected, working in different departments, mainly, the lighting, and then there got into editing, and then doing my directing work.
So I'm in a different situation because I'm a professor, so I obviously am in it for the money. Thanks. But we've had the opportunity this last 6 months or so to hear from a lot of folks about their trajectories into the industry. And even folks who are in LA now but come from San Antonio are coming through weird and different routes. So I think Kate Purdy, who did Undone, was like a courier out there. And I think Marcela Ochoa was in the accounting department. And we heard from Tembi Banks, who just started asking directors if she could shadow for them. So I think, they're just varied and unexpected routes in for people in this industry.
Yeah. And that's such a good point, Paul. I think
Thanks.
as a follow-up, as a follow-up, you know, so there's a difference between breaking in and then there's a point where you feel like, hey, I'm doing this. I'm, dare I say, making it, right? At what point did you feel like you kind of crossed that bridge from just kind of being on the struggle bus, right, and trying to piece things together to where it started to kind of become a career?
Right. I think for me in the beginning, 1988 was a good year for me because interning, as we're talking about, and doing that transition, because I interned for Dick Clark Productions at SeaWorld, that gave me an opportunity to go into the cue card department. And they were looking for someone to fill that position. So they got a bunch of guys together, all the interns. It was about 7 of us. And they gave us a card with a big marker and said, can you do what this other card and make it look like that? Because we need somebody in our department. Thinking that I was going to intern in that department, we all did what we had to do. We put our name in the back of the card, and we did exactly what we're supposed to do, is draw and write down, because it was in teleprompter on that shoot at SeaWorld, at the grand opening. So it was a lot of celebrities coming in, and they needed to go off the cue cards. When I did what I had to do, and as an artist and a creator and whatever, but I loved drawing, so I'm like, oh, this is kind of like down my road. I could totally mimic and write exactly what's on that card, on my card, and identical letters and whatever. We turned it all in, and at the end of the day, they turned the card around and said, Danny. Who's Danny? And I said, right here. We want you over here. So I'm thinking, great, I'm going to intern in the cue card department. I had no idea I was going to get start paperwork and W-4s and whatever, and getting a rate. And so I'm thinking, like, I'm still in school and I'm making money. So it was a great opportunity. So to me, that was the breaking point. At that point, I wasn't thinking like a student or an intern. I was thinking, like, I'm a professional now. My dad told me that if I ever work on something and I get paid for it, I'm a professional. I'm a professional. And that point in my career, I just got on the train and took off. Never looked back.
That's awesome. I'm going to go down the line. Vanessa, I'd love to hear your thoughts, too.
I was an educator for over a decade. And so my husband and I started a production company, but I never felt like I was ready to take that leap to work full-time in film. And, you know, I'd worked on some films, some shorts, had helped produce some things, but it wasn't until people kept calling and I had to turn people down. I was like, sorry, I can't do that. I'm at work, I can't do that. And so when people start calling you and then you keep getting referred and you actually get paid to do that is what happened for me. And so I know when I left the teaching industry, I was very nervous. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay my bills. Like, I don't know what to do. And so I was trying to find other ways to make up for it. But, you know, word of mouth, if you love what you do, if you really care about your craft, and it shows, then people are going to keep referring you. And, you know, Danny's called me for some really awesome projects too. And so before you know it, your name just gets, you know, thrown out there and you get hired and you get to, you know, do what you love to do for a living. And that's the best thing.
Well, I think I'm going to go a little bit different route. I mean, I guess the idea of making it is a very relative a little bit on your personal goals and where you want to be. I was actually able to make a living, I'm still able to make a living within the film industry. So, and when I lived in LA, soon enough after the internships, I was very fortunate that, I was able to make a living working and then saving money to put together my own projects. But I think that looking back, I feel like the feeling of making it, for me, it's always been where I finish a project and when I see it being projected in the big screen and when I see the audience reacting, and afterwards you might have people come in and tell you things about your project and how much you touched them. And so that, I think, looking back, I think the impact that my work does, I feel like that is extremely rewarding and it keeps me really going.
I love that. And thank you for taking it in a different direction too, because I know, like for me, I started out with ambitions working in production, and I did that for several years and explored the areas that I thought that I wanted to work in. Wardrobe, didn't end up liking it at all. Art department, wasn't my thing. I'm not a fine artist. And for me, being on set wasn't the dream that I thought it was gonna be. And my making it was actually shifting over as like an arts administrator and realizing what I really love to do is to bring people together and to watch projects come to fruition and to play a role in that. And I love to see like former interns succeed in the industry and go on and do great things. And so I think your idea of making it is obviously subjective to who you are and what role you play in this industry. But I'm always curious about like does the self-doubt ever turn off, right? Mm-hmm. At some point where you can proudly say, I am a filmmaker, I am a professional, and it does. And so for anybody here who's kind of wondering if you'll have that moment, I think you should rest assured knowing that you will, regardless of what that might mean. I'd like to ask Paul a question and just kind of start with you and then work the way back down. To film school or not to film school? That is the question. And I know that you have a vested interest in this one, but it really is an important question, and I'd just love to hear more, and I know everyone would, on the value that you've seen in the students that you work with and having them be a part of a strong and growing film school program.
Yeah, great. Well, I mean, you don't have to go to film school, right? Which is against my interest to say, I suppose. But to make a great film, you don't have to go to film school, right? And to make your work and to get out there and start practicing, you don't need that. And you can watch YouTube tutorials to get technical training, and you can get a great group of collaborators and things like that. There's a lot of reasons to go to college, and not all of them are about what you study specifically, right? But there are plenty of things to gain from getting an education in film specifically, but obviously in general, right? Flexibility, economic opportunity across the board, right? But also, I think in a film program, you get to, meet the people who are going to be the collaborators for the rest of your life, right? You can meet people who are professionals at telling visual stories and who are in a position where they can give you honest feedback on what you're doing and how to do it better, right? You can ask questions that you can't ask on Reddit because it's about your specific project, and you can have the opportunity to practice that all the time, right? You get time, you get access to equipment. We talked a little bit backstage about sort of the slowness of an institution, right? Professors stick around for a long time and they don't always evolve with the times, right? And equipment, you can get something from an equipment house that's much more up to date than what you're probably going to get from an institution where it takes me 8 months to order one piece of equipment because of the way things work. But you have time and you have space and you have equipment and you have something that was always very important to me as a student, which is like an artificial structure that forces you to work, right? And it forces you to think through something that you might otherwise say, well, I'm not ready to think it through yet, right? And it gives you a chance to have to think it through and to make mistakes with it and to figure out better ways to think about it. So the students in our program have just immediately found a community of like-minded folks. They're making all the time, but I was at a recruiting event this weekend where worried parents were asking about whether this is a practical career, and of course it's not at all. And the thing that's important is the same thing that's important in a lot of other majors, which is that if you're not, you have to be doing something, When you get out, you're not going to take your degree to Hollywood and someone's going to hand you your camera, right? Like, it just doesn't operate in that way. You have to sort of make of it what it is. There are all sorts of great options in town at NVC and at SAC and at UTSA for doing different things that'll position you well, and it will help you make contacts. There's all these great, sorry, I'm going on and on. There's great stories about people who say you don't need film school, right? Like Paul Thomas Anderson, who walks out of NYU after like 2 days, right? And back to his life in LA where his whole family were already in show business. There's a certain degree of privilege to some folks that can make those claims, right, about how they don't need it. And I think there are, for some people, this is a really effective way to make connections and to begin networking when you have no idea how to network otherwise, right? And to finding out new things about Professor Zabala Suarez every single day, about her extensive background and the projects she's worked on. And it's just sort of mind-blowing all the time to know, like, that connections are available there that maybe are, naturally available to Paul Thomas Anderson, but not the rest of us.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's a tremendous point, as far as the structure that school can provide, and then also I think pushing you to like move beyond your perfectionism or whatever it is that it might be to actually do something, to actually make something, if that's a part of your curriculum in school, if you're so lucky to have equipment in your hands. But as I will say, I personally got a job because I didn't go to film school once. And then other times it's been a detriment, or you might feel like you're a little bit on the outside of conversation. So it can definitely go both ways. Guillermina, did you have any other thoughts?
Sure. No, I think that I definitely echo everything that Paul mentioned in terms of the pro and cons in terms of film school. But my own experience, I did go to film school. And I will say that for me, it was great because not only I was able to produce one of my first shorts for free, pretty much, right? Because you can use the equipment, you have crew that you have to pay, you have the facilities. But also I think that if you're coming more from I want to develop my vision as a filmmaker, more of in the creative artistic side of it, and you don't know exactly what you want to say, what your stories you want to tell. So yeah, film school is that sort of incubator that allows you to develop that. And then you have other people, like Paul was saying, that they have similar interests, that they will collaborate with you. And it's also a safe space to make mistakes, because honestly, that's the way you learn. You have to make mistakes to be able to improve. And if you do mistakes in a shoot, they're going to get fired. But if you do mistakes in film school, hey, you may get a bad grade, but it's not that bad, right? So I think for me, I wasn't sure back then when I was in college, this is what I really want to do or how to do it. So it gives you that space. One of my shorts there got acquired by Showtime when I finished it, because it went to all these different festivals and got awards. And I definitely couldn't have done it without that space, having that space.
I want to jump to another question, and Vanessa, I want to ask you specifically what role film festivals are playing in your life as a filmmaker, and the kind of value that you see in doing the film festival circuit.
Yes, so I actually started volunteering for film festivals. I worked with volunteer coordination for San Antonio Film Fest. I helped create another film festival in town. And so that was maybe 10 years ago. And so that was a really great opportunity for me to network and meet a lot of different filmmakers and like-minded people, because I wasn't in the film industry. I had just, worked on a few films here and there, but I didn't know the San Antonio community. And so that was a really great opportunity to meet so many people. And right now we have a web series that's going through the festival circuits as well. And so that's also another great opportunity to have your work seen by different people, meet different people from all over the country, all over the world. I think it's a great tool to use and to be able to meet other people just like you.
Yeah, Yep, film schools and film festivals, I think, provide that tremendous sense of community, which is so important when you are breaking in, trying to learn the landscape, and then also trying to keep going and build those relationships that are going to lead to future opportunities. If you're not familiar, here in San Antonio, we really have some tremendous film festivals as well. So I'd just like to give a shout out to Cine Festival, San Antonio Black International Film Festival, the San Antonio Film Festival, Josiah Media Festival, and of course you saw our hashtag film essay contest winners from last year. We've just launched this upcoming year's festival as well. And those are just a few of the film festivals that we have here in San Antonio to take advantage of. So if you're thinking about interning, a film festival is a really great place to take a look. And if you have any questions about those opportunities, you can reach out to our office. We're happy to connect you with that info. I want to just be frank because filmmaking is a demanding career path. And so, Danny, this question is specifically for you. The hours are long. The constant collaboration is essential. On-the-spot problem solving is a rush, and it's rewarding, but it's relentless because it's kind of all that you're doing just to make something happen. And so how do you stay motivated when you're in the middle of a 12-hour day, or what keeps you going and what drives you to show up early? Because you don't want to be on time because that's late.
Definitely the drive that you're an artist. You could be an actor, you could be a filmmaker, but the drive of accomplishing a mission to work on a project, doesn't matter what it is, music video, commercials, documentary, whatever it is, but to be a part of something and to leave something behind, something that you can look back and say, oh man, I did that commercial. I did that music video. I did that movie. It's rewarding. And when I get on that rocking chair and my grandkids and my kids are gonna see that grandpa did that, that's kind of like what you wanna leave, a little legacy behind. It's not a competition of I'm better and you're better. It's a matter of something that you wanna do from your heart. And when you do it, it motivates you to work on a project on a day-to-day basis. And that's what I like. And there's times you're unemployed and you're not making any money. And then there's times that you do make money. So, but that drive of being satisfied, and it comes from the school of hard knocks. It comes from the school of hard knocks. You have to be a PA if you can. There's nothing wrong with being a production assistant. You get to learn different departments that you really want to be in. And as an actor, why not be an extra? So you can learn the protocols and the terminologies and the blocking and the marks and everything, the camera movements. Maybe watch your favorite actor on that same movie. Oh my God, that's Matthew McConaughey. But you can't get starstruck because I'm gonna be part of this, this business. So if you're gonna Google over him, then you're probably gonna get fired. Leave your cell phone in the car. But there's a lot of protocols that you have to understand. And people don't make it that far because they didn't go to the school of hard knocks. So learn your craft, study it, and polish it, and have that drive and that satisfaction. When you get old, you can look back and relax and have a beer.
Vanessa, what keeps you motivated?
So yes, the hours can be long. So I know some people are like, okay, I'm here, can I go? And you're like, no, we still have 11 more hours to go or 12 more hours to go. My whole life has been about production, so I feel like I thrive in organized chaos. That's kind of what I love to do. And every production's a new experience. You create families with these. Every single production, it's new families. Some people, might be the same, but I just love seeing a group of people come together, from carpenters to electricians to, you know, lighting to every little aspect. All these people are coming together to create this story, whether it is a commercial or a movie or whatever it is. And that's what keeps me going. I love it. I love seeing the final product and being able to watch and see that I was a part of that. And like Danny said, your roles, if you're looking to get in, you should PA. You should learn different aspects of the industry, because then you understand why it took an hour for them to set up these lights. You know, why it took an hour for, you know, hair, makeup, wardrobe to get ready. And that way you understand how everything works. And it just makes a film set just a little more cohesive at the end of the day.
Oh, okay. I don't want to be too repetitive because I definitely kind of follow the similar ideas that were mentioned. I think the thing is, whether you are the director of your project, so if you're the director, you have your vision, and so I think definitely that keeps you going because you wanted to make sure that you were the one who started it. Like, you have this little idea, this seed, and you want to see it finished. You want to see it on the screen. If you are a crew member, like I see myself, you know, like when I do work as either camera or different type of work that I've done in the past, I think what keeps me going is collaborating, making sure that, you know, like I'm a team player, and especially if the director or producer, they are very good at letting everyone know what is this project about and what's the vision. I think that you feel part of it, which is important. I think this is something that anybody who eventually will be a producer or director, it's important that you keep everyone involved. You let everyone know that this is, even though it's your decision at the end of the day of what you want, but that the work that, you know, the sound person does and like the PA and the lighting and the camera, it's so important. Like, if you are not there, this movie's not going to be made, right? It's not going to be done. So when you feel like your role is so important, you're there, right? You have to be there. You are committed. I'm personally very like perfectionist, and I like to learn, and so it's like I really don't mind to be there many hours. And the rewarding side of it that we're talking about is being able to finish the project, obviously, right? And seeing complete and feel like you're part of that team that worked together. So.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned, you know, filmmaking is such a highly collaborative team sport. And being a team player is so key in those ways. And so I'd kind of like to switch gears because perhaps more than many others, the film industry is an industry that's built on relationships. And so, you know, as the saying goes, it's all about who you know, but it's also all about who you could know and how you could get to know them and that kind of accessibility. So as we continue to emerge from COVID, I think we're all trying to relearn how to socialize, how to network. And so I'd just love to hear from everybody on the panel how you stay connected, and then you know, just kind of at large, like with the industry, how you stay on top of like trends or kind of what's going on, but then also just at a more individual level, like how do you stay connected with your community? Because I think that is so many times the missing piece of information that people are looking for when they're trying to get started. You know, is how do I really build relationships in a significant way?
I think it's I don't know if I'm on. Okay, I'm on. I don't need the microphone. No, I think that you know, I guess what I'm trying to say here is no, just going back to your question, like exactly what is it that you were saying again, please?
Yeah.
Because the microphone wasn't working.
No, it's just relationships, right? It's like how do you stay connected?
The relationship
and can you
and
just
the
talk about like the importance of relationships? Because I know you know that so well.
So here's the thing: the relationship and the connection. You guys are here to listen to us, right? Well, I'm actually here to meet you guys. That's the key. It's the reason why y'all are here is the reason why I'm here. I want to meet you guys. And I just wanted to clarify it, you know? Because you guys are the future. You know, I've been doing this for 30-something years, but how do I know when my next job is going to be? You guys are going to be the next guys. And I'm going to be working for you guys. You guys are going to call me. So why not? So this kind of event and this forum that the city of San Antonio has put together, the Texas, you know, the TPR, everything. It's about these kind of events and future events and functions and meetings and workshops. That's where you want to make the connections and make the contacts. When you work on a project, you're going to work on the project. You're going to know who everyone is. But we're part of the crew. I already know you. You know me. You're the grip. I'm the electric. You know, whatever. But this is our crew. Y'all came here for me and for Vanessa and for the panelists and for all of us. But I'm here for you guys. So that's what I think.
It's a tough one to top, but Vanessa, you know, I just want to know everyone's thoughts because I think everybody has a really different approach to relationship building, and it's just the cornerstone of how projects come together and how people build their careers. So,
for sure. So definitely events like this. We used to have mixers pretty often pre-COVID. So attending those mixers, we had events that the city would put on. I know there was some stuff about tax incentives. And so if you go to these events, you network with people, you get to meet people when you're on set, you get to, you know, network with those people. Staying on top of like Instagram, follow people, follow production companies, let people know, you know, what, you know, I'm willing to work on this project. A lot of production companies will post stuff looking for people. And so if you follow these people in town, or it doesn't matter who it is, a lot of people post everything. So keeping up with that, the San Antonio Film Commission, the Texas Film Commission, and really once you start following certain people, it'll tell you who to follow and network and reach out to people that way, because that's the best way. And of course, face-to-face is better because you'll get to like, oh yes, I remember what that person looked like. That's the best way. Just keep coming to events like this and networking and do a good job with that, because people will remember you for sure.
Yeah, no, I think definitely try to attend any type of networking event. It's key. I think I also will recommend going a little bit outside your comfort zone and then maybe go to, like, that's my personal kind of experience. Sometimes look at other type of artistic disciplines. Like, so if you're more into, like, you know, music or art, I do a lot of interdisciplinary artwork as well. And what happens is that there's a lot of crossover, right? So, you know, sometimes it's good to be in the film community, but it's good to open up too, because there is opportunities, right? So we're talking about musicians who need music videos, right? And then a lot of the artwork, the art world, you know, artists will also need work in terms of social media out there, digital media content. It's really needed everywhere now. It's not just in the film community, right? So I think that do that, but then also open up, right? And so if you have other interests, you should definitely, you know, connect to those places as well. Personally, also, I've been a mentor, a teacher. I'm a professor now at UTSA. I was the director of the Media Arts program at CAC, which is an after-school program for middle and high school students. And mentoring young filmmakers, teaching, for me, it was also, it's been, or it's still be, is a really good way of staying connected in terms of like what young filmmakers are interested, what are their needs, what do they want, and what we could provide, but also in terms of as a teacher, professor, or mentor, the learning is reciprocal. Similar to what you know, Danny was talking about. You know, we're here. We know that you want to hear us, but we want to hear from you too. And the same happens when you're in a learning environment. there's a lot of, for me, learning from young filmmakers too.
Okay, I'll take a crack at this one.
Excellent.
What was the question?
Being an artist is interesting, right? Because it doesn't necessarily lend itself to being a handshaker and a networker, right? And I think that's something I can relate to as like someone who's bad at shaking hands, but like really passionate about the work that I'm doing. And I think something really, you know, my experience is in building and building a program and things like that, but I think triangulating through the passion or through the project rather than just trying to do it all through personal connection can be really useful. And like a way to effectively put yourself out there is to do it through the work, right? And so I agree with everything people have been saying about taking every opportunity and seeking out additional opportunities where you might learn that the thing that you do is not the thing that you want to do, that you're interested in a whole different part of things. But I think that it's much more satisfying in general and productive in a collaboration when it's going through the work rather than through a just sort of like meeting of two people.
Yeah. That's a great point. So for anyone who is looking for just more events like this, you know, in the future, I just wanted to give a quick shout out that we are doing a town hall event here in San Antonio with the TXMPA, that's the Texas Media Production Association, next Wednesday. It's March 1st, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Little Carver. It's free, no need to RSVP. And as Vanessa mentioned, if you wanted to learn more about what's going on at the state level, as far as the conversation about the state's film incentive program and how important that is to the work that we see here in San Antonio and the way we can build our community, please show up for that. We're going to be doing more coffee talks also through the spring and the summer too. But to Paul's point, you know, collaborating and working together creatively is really just the best way to get to know each other, because when you're in the trenches together on a project, that forms instant family. So keep that in mind too. And like everyone said, just so eloquently, more than I can say myself, we want to hear from you. We want to meet you. And I see there's a mic set up here. So that's a perfect segue to any questions from the audience for our wonderful panelists here. I see a couple of hands raised, but if you might come down to the mic so we can best hear your question, that would be fantastic. Look at you. Somebody sat accordingly. I love it.
It was rigged. Yeah, just kidding.
Questions, please.
Sorry, thank you. So, hey everyone. Okay. Is there any way I could like make it go a little higher?
Yeah. You just twist it. There you go. Ready, set? Perfect. Okay. Hey everyone, my name is Robert Lira. So my question kind of pertains to the nature of YouTube and TikTok. So with YouTube, there's kind of been like a sort of change in the biosphere of filmmaking. With you have people, you know, uploading their own short films, their own, you know, their own ideas, tutorials, etc., all that kind of stuff. But I've seen TikTok kind of has been trying to enter that same sphere. I'm not gonna lie and act like, oh yeah, like I was on TikTok searching for film advice. Like for example, this one time I was on TikTok and, you know, video about puppies, video about cats, video about guinea pigs, and then up comes a video that was basically a 1 minute short horror film, and it was very clearly made with an intent to be like an actual production. Like you could tell that there was, you know, a script involved. They had special effects. They actually like used the camera in an interesting way, and it wasn't just like just that. So I was just kind of wondering, like, how do y'all feel about the how do you all feel about TikTok and YouTube as a means of getting yourself out there? Like, do you feel like there's a way to use that as an addition to your portfolio, or do you feel like it's more akin to, like, if I wanted to make, say, like, I collect action figures, so say I want to make a video of my Superman action figure fighting my Godzilla action figure. Like, if I was to make a video like that where there was a script where I actually used, camera angles and movements and stuff like that, and it wasn't just me like at the camera the entire time. Do you feel that there would actually be like a purpose in that, like that would make for a good portfolio addition, or do you think that that kind of stuff is more pointless and that should be a bit more of a classical style of adding to your portfolio?
To TikTok.
Good question.
Thank you.
Wow. Absolutely. No, go for it. I mean, TikTok and be an influencer. You know already that people they go viral. They become famous. But at the same time, you have to have a backup plan. When you become famous and you're an influencer, you're going to be now measured in another level. And that's in that professional level. So now you have to know some protocols and understanding of the nature of the business. So go for it. Yeah, get on YouTube and do a film. Go on TikTok, be an influencer, get millions of hits. But just be ready, because a calling could happen. And if you're not ready, that boat's gone.
Paul, I think you have some good thoughts for this.
Do I?
I see you're writing.
No, these are notes for later.
Oh.
Hey, the Haynes thing, the Barbie doll thing?
Oh, yeah.
Todd Haynes made a Barbie doll movie,
Yes.
the Karen Carpenter story, entirely with Barbie dolls. That came to my mind when you were talking. Yeah, I think this is like, it doesn't have to just. I feel great in answer to how I feel about this. It doesn't have to even just be for your reel, right? Like, this is a fascinating new medium where you can really master what's available in this medium, right? And you don't have to think of it as just the place to get to somewhere else from,
right?
Because there's so much that you can only do there in those restrictions that you can't do in other places, right? Like, I feel like I could reel off a list of filmmakers whose deal was just making the most of a weird restricted medium in different ways, right? And I think that's, there's so many examples of it. You should look up the Haynes Karen Carpenter Barbie doll thing.
I certainly will. Sounds interesting.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Hold on, I'm a little shorter. So mine is not much of a question as it is kind of a statement for everyone here. I'm part of San Antonio Q Fest, which is a Pride organized festival. And we came here wanting to hear about filmmakers, both in the industry and possibly upcoming filmmakers as well, all of y'all here. We just wanted to say that we love everything that y'all talked about. We tried to get here a little earlier, but traffic just wasn't agreeing with us. Here are some of us back here. If any of y'all are interested in filmmaking, our festival is October 6th through the 8th. We're reaching 20 years of film festival history. And on top of that, we are one of the more affordable options. Currently, I think our rate is below $20 to enter your film. So we think that it's a great way for some of y'all to get y'all's feet off the ground. Y'all made a few comments about how film festivals are a great way to kind of get in there. As for, I guess a question to leave y'all, so that way it's not just a statement. Also, any of y'all can find us after questions are done. We're not leaving until until y'all come to us. But I guess my question that I'm going to pose to y'all, just that way y'all can have a question to answer. How do y'all feel, I guess, the industry is, or do y'all have any sort of, what is it? Words. Do y'all have sort of any advice to give for young queer artists? Because right now is a time where queerness, LGBTQ issues, transness is becoming more and more of a subject, especially in filmmaking, and especially with actors coming out as trans, non-binary. Do y'all have any maybe advice or anything like that for young queer filmmakers?
I have a round of applause for your question. Yeah. And definitely, yeah. I know our panelists have some good ideas.
Yeah. I think we were talking earlier about diversity in the industry and ways to access an industry that has been so sort of structured to police certain groups out of it, right? And I think one place to get started is that most of the major studios at this point and channels have specific diversity programs while they're still up. I think some of them are starting to close, but are seeking out ways to sort of diversify the pipeline of talent that makes them very interested in places like San Antonio that have diverse populations. And these are sort of readily searchable. CBS and diversity is a Instagram, and there's a whole bunch of these that have these opportunities that are specifically about sort of finding ways to bring marginalized voices into the main conversation.
Yeah, there's a bunch of opportunities, grants. If you do CBS diversity, a lot of the other ones kind of they share. There's any topic you can think of, they will offer mentorship or grants or anything. People just have to kind of be active and apply, and also just keep forming allies, and yeah.
Do you remember the name of the group? There was specifically like a queer Latinx writers group that Jorge and Ray were talking about. I'm gonna follow up with you after when I remember the name of this.
Okay, no, I don't remember.
Hello, I'm Gwyn. As like a producer, director, or production team, how do you determine like when a script is worthy of your time, or when a project is like worthy of your time and efforts?
That's a great question. Who wants to take
That's
a
a
stab?
good question.
I guess
Vanessa?
sorry. Get a few eyes on it first and get a good amount of feedback to make sure that like the thoughts are clear, the story's clear, the character development is there. So you want to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row for sure, and just get lots of feedback.
Yeah.
For me, one of the things that has always been very helpful is once you have what might be the final draft or close to the final draft, after you got feedback, you got consultant, you got all these people reading and giving you, is do a table reading. And so hear the words out loud. And really, because that is, personally, has been the key, because that's when you really see it's like, oh, especially when it comes to dialogue or the character arc, things that might not like fit. And you can always be obviously changing it, but I think that is the key. If it works in a table reading, it has potential.
And actors are really good at telling you, like, I wouldn't do that. Or that doesn't make sense. Why am I doing this? And so table reads are really great.
Yeah. And then the personal connection, right? Like it takes so much time and energy to bring a project to fruition. So if you don't feel that personal connection with something that you're reading, it's probably best to move on to something else, or to go back to the script and rework it. Like you're saying, a table read is an incredible resource. Because if you're going to pour the time and energy into making something, and you only have, like, say, Danny, in your case, you only have so much time to work on so many projects, you're going to be drawn to the stuff that resonates.
I go right after the storyline, the log line. Local production companies here, my production is like Aaron Lee Lopez, and you just look at the log line and you know what the story's about, whether or not I want to jump in on it and say, this sounds pretty good, and then you jump in and read the whole script. But to read everyone's script, I got a script. You're not going to be able to read all the scripts. But just, having that synopsis and the log line, get to the point. That way I can go, I might be interested in reading this whole script. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. For sure. Thank you.
The treatment.
Hi, my name's Nolan. I'm a local hobbyist filmmaker here in San Antonio. I have two questions, one kind of behind the camera, one in front of the camera, if you don't mind. Behind the camera, I've always made just short just funny films. And my actors have always been families and friends, so they really never had experience. I just kind of direct them and kind of like, hey, you're really mad. You're so mad you want to punch his head off. And that's kind of just what I've kind of been doing. I have no formal training, but this year I'm actually like self-funding a short that I would like to submit to a film festival. I feel like the story is powerful, and I think that's enough. But I wanted to ask, the question is, what are the important things besides story that film festivals like, or they see that's appealing to them?
That's a great question.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah. I would say, like, right off the bat, is it programmable? You want to make something that's easy for a programmer to say yes to. So if you're doing a short film, sometimes the more succinct your short film is, and the better you're able to articulate what you're trying to say, that helps. It's easier for them to plug in like 5-minute short films than one 45-minute short film, because that's not a short film,
Well,
right?
I'm gonna add, actually, it's a short featured film.
Uh-oh.
So there's the curveball. Sorry. So it's like,
okay.
I know it's a tough one, but it's not a feature. It has every component to a featured film, but it's gonna try to be under.
If you got that component, then why don't you just make it a feature?
Yeah.
If you're gonna go that far.
Okay. I've thought of that, and the thing is just self-funding, and like how far can I take that?
It all depends on who your friends and family are, You know anybody?
Yeah. Or take a look at what you put together and see if there's like a 5-minute segment in there that works as a standalone short, so that you can use that to raise funds to do the feature. Maybe there's something there, but I don't want to. Please, guys, pop in with good thoughts.
No, I agree. Yeah, you want something that's programmable. So if it's in between, if it's like 20 to 40 minutes long, but it's a short, then it may not get into many festivals because they want to put more shorts in a block.
Right.
But if you're self-funding, then I would definitely recommend doing a shortened version so that you can use that to raise the money to get your feature funded.
And for the in front of the camera, a lot of my friends who are just kind of like I said, they're my actors and family and friends, and they really don't have experience. Where can I kind of direct them and kind of tell them? Because they're good personalities, they're like fun, I like them, but their acting isn't like real. Is there some, like, just as a general, like, if I can, like, besides taking them to, like, an acting school or something like that, is there something that I can kind of just maybe, not like a quick repair, but just kind of give them more resource to kind of, hey, take some time, and then when we come back, we can shoot for this week and kind of just sharpen that?
Acting takes time, so I would find actors.
Yeah, you gotta find
actors because otherwise your story may, you're putting all this work into creating a project, but if it's not believable, then nobody's gonna buy into it.
And I would say that do that, but if you still want to work with your friends, find ways of doing improv. So you'll get something different though, right? So we're talking about something more like a hybrid between a little documentary and scripted, which is challenging. I don't know if I'm recommending that right now. But it's exciting, and you can have really interesting things. Like, there's like well-known directors that work with non-actors, and they get like incredible things. Like, Fellini was the one who did that, back in the 40s, and then other directors do it. So I think that it's more about maybe instead of telling them, do this, do that, talk about what's happening in that scene. And then bring them into something that they can connect to, like similar. And so maybe they don't have to say the lines, but they can have a conversation about it. And you can utilize those lines. And sometimes, honestly, maybe better than the script, but that be the case. But it happens. And that's when, actors ad-lib and improv, and it has like that freshness to it.
Side note, that's what I've kind of been doing a lot. It's just already that, just kind of just having having a very brief script.
Right.
But having that conversation there, and then a lot of the stuff I'm taking in is the stuff that's just like take 3, like, oh, you just said that, and I'm like, That was really funny. It made everyone laugh. So.
Maybe just take some look up acting exercises or how to connect with actors on the material. That way you can work with them beforehand and just work out all of their emotions and connection to the piece. So that way when you go into production, you're ready to go.
Thank you so much.
And then just really quickly, due to time constraints, these are going to be our last 3 questions of the night. So thank you so much again for joining us, and we're on to the next question.
Thank you, panelists, for coming out and speaking to us tonight. Really appreciate it. My question is short, succinct, and to the point. At this stage in y'all's lives and careers, what's more of a limiting resource to you, time or money?
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Money. No, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like a little bit of both. You've been doing it for so many years. I'm speaking on myself. So yeah, it's about money, I'm not starting off. I've been doing this. You got to craft it. You got to polish what you have. And when you polish it and you bring out a diamond and it's glittering and it's sparkling everywhere, it's time to cash in, Can't be always just doing this, That's what you want to do, then fine, do it. Do whatever anybody wants to do. I think it's great if anybody wants to be an actor, a filmmaker, this, that, but just do it and have fun and enjoy your life. So, yeah, if you want to make some money, great. But if you want to go, and it's not all about the money either. If I'm really in love with something and a story, a script, I'll do it. I'll cut my pay. It's not about the money. It's about the craft. But at the same time, yeah, you got a mortgage. You got this. So everyone's different. And no one is beneath anyone. And one day, somebody in here is going to be a big timer. Mark my word. And then the truth, is in the pudding. Okay?
Hello, my name is Jeremy Roche, and I'm born and raised here. And I've been looking at the film scene here in San Antonio since I want to say maybe back in 2019. So last year I started to try to look for filmmakers. So I'm pursuing to be a film composer, and I know that this area, for some reason, every time when I'm looking, to find resources, it's kind of hard. So I try to go to film festivals and stuff. But my question is there a place to find resources as networks to look for as film composers to find film directors other than at film festivals?
I'm happy to just kind of kick that off, and I'd love to share some information with you and anybody who is interested in learning more about where music and film overlap. There's a lot of opportunity there, and especially for composers, I think. And so our office at the San Antonio Film Commission works a lot with the Texas Music Office, and they have some great guidance and resource for folks who are looking to establish themselves as film composers. And, I think, a lot of those resources, I want to give you my card so you can, I want to give everybody my card so that if you have any questions, you can ask them. But there's a lot of resources out there for folks who are looking to establish themselves as film composers. And I think, making friends with filmmakers is a really good place to start, whether you do that at a film festival or at a film school or at an event like this, or if you're just kind of, reaching out to kind of better understand what kind of partnership opportunities are out there.
I was going to say that definitely you want to start building the reel, and I will say connect with us, because I teach at UTSA digital video production and another class that they do more documentary based, and there's always a need of original music. My students right now, they're in production, so please.
Yeah,
you should stay in touch. It's something,
composers, performers, right? That please reach out, and we keep a binder that's available to our students if you're trying to just get experience and work in front of the camera or composing for the camera, we have those opportunities for sure. Our students would love to have you.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm Kyle Ward. I'm a student filmmaker in San Antonio. My question is, so basically I serve as a backbone for a lot of festivals. So I've also gone to festivals, South by Southwest, but I also judge and screen for festivals and also help with like studio work. So my question to y'all is like, what is the importance for behind the scenes production side on the studio side and as like a festival, what the background is like? Screening, judging, direction, executive direction, what is like y'all's opinion on that?
I'm sorry, just want to clarify. How important it is that the side,
Yeah,
the,
like how-
the pre-production
yeah.
side of the film festivals,
Yeah.
right? Is that what you're saying?
That those are valuable skills.
Yeah,
too,
like how,
right?
how
Are they-
what's like the importance of that as a filmmaker to understand that?
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Right. Well, I've been a judge, a curator for several film festivals, and I think that it's important to understand first that depending on what film festival you send your work with, like, Sundance, for example, or some other, Cannes, like big festivals are extremely competitive, right? One thing that I've learned is that, the first 3 minutes of your film are key. Sometimes, curators and judges only watch the beginning, right? They don't watch everything because if they have to go through like thousands of shorts or feature films. So I think, knowing more about how film festivals, contests, competitions work in terms of like criteria selection, who is behind, I think reading and learning who are the judges this year, it's good because you kind of get more understanding of like, if your film gets selected, maybe understand more why, and if it doesn't, right? One of the things I tell a lot of students, and even for me personally, it is extremely disappointing when like you don't get selected. But definitely don't take it personal. It's not solely just about your film because, like I said, there's a group of judges behind, they're trying to be as objective as possible, but at the end of the day, there is some subjectivity in it, right? Even though they all follow criteria, right? And like Kimberly was talking about is like there is a limited amount of space that they have in order to programming. So those are tough decisions too by judges that they need to decide what films go on. I don't know if I answered your question, but I know I gave some important information, maybe. Hopefully.
Thank you.
I mean, I'll just jump in and say too, if I notice that somebody has been, interning and volunteering at film festivals and is just showing up, right, and taking on a lot of different capacities, that shows that somebody's really eager to learn everything that they can about the opportunities that are around them and the industry opportunities. And so I think exactly what you're saying, as a filmmaker, it helps you kind of depersonalize rejection a little bit, knowing how film festivals get put together and how programs get put together, but also I think it just gives you a bigger appreciation for the grand scheme that film festivals and other opportunities play, while also showing, I think your versatility and your interests and your passion for film while you're just kind of, being in sponge mode, right? And that's always something that anyone who's like in a hiring capacity, I think, is looking to see that someone's passion and interest for the industry is genuine and doesn't stop,
Yeah, thank you.
Paul, you had to.
Yeah, there's so many intern and volunteer opportunities at all the film fests in town. They're constantly taking folks on, and everybody who does it comes back to me with really positive experiences about it. So I would recommend that to everybody to reach out to San Antonio Black International Film Fest or Cine Festival, places like that.
Q-Fest.
Q-Fest.
October. Yes.
I hate to cut it short, but we have reached our time. Thank everyone so much for being here. We really appreciate that y'all came out for this. And it's so awesome to see that there's so many members of the San Antonio film community. It's like way bigger than we could have ever thought. So got to have more of these. And, we'll see y'all out there in the lobby.